Good morning. Welcome to Joyous Prairies. It's Joy. I'm going to talk about something today. I was scrolling through YouTube in the evening, just kind of looking for a video to watch. Excuse me. And I came across a quote that really got me thinking. I've been thinking about it all weekend, and I just kind of wanted to share some thoughts with you about it. So the quote was by Furtick, which is a minister that preaches out of a church called Elevation Church, and they are on YouTube, and sometimes I watch his sermons. But this was just a quote by him, and it was, "God will use the very thing meant to destroy you to develop you." So I've really been thinking about that quite a bit this weekend, and I kind of wanted to go into, some of my struggles and some of the things that are meant to destroy me and how it has developed me. So let's talk about a few of those things. As you guys know, as I've talked about before, I have struggled with depression since my early teens and all of my adult life, and it has kind of come and go. I've taken medication for it for a lot of years. I tried different things, lots of different things, and I always kind of had in my head that this depression was something that was part of me because it was generational. My mother struggled with depression and does still struggle with depression. Her mother, my grandmother, struggled with depression. And probably her mother as well, who knows. But so it was always a family thing. Excuse me, I'm a little congested today. I had a lot of pollen out here. But I always was able to stay pretty stable. I would have some times that were harder than others dealing with it, but I was always able to stay pretty stable and kind of still manage my life. But then the last couple of years, I had some really challenging things happen, and they were kind of what I call like real adult things, like real life things happened to me and to my family, and I didn't deal with them very well. I'll kind of go down that list of things, and they all happened in probably an 18-month period, and it really caused me to kind of disintegrate, and I think that really was, it was really trying to take me out. So some of the things that happened were my daughter, who was 15 at the time, she's almost 18 now, she had just this mysterious sickness and lots of different symptoms for a couple of years, and we ended up getting a diagnosis of Crohn's disease. And as you know, I'm a researcher, so the more I researched about Crohn's disease, the more devastated I became, and the more stressed I was over it. She's medically stable now. Her medicine is working very well. She does have bad days, but the prognosis of Crohn's disease isn't good. It's a progressive illness, so it's something that will be with her forever. There's no cure for it. There's definitely treatment and things that we can do to improve it. But that was the number one thing. And that was, for me as a parent, really, really difficult to deal with. More difficult for her, of course, because she has to live with this disease. Shortly after that, my dad, as I talked about in another video, my dad lost his battle with alcoholism and he passed away. And I hadn't spoken to him for a number of years, so I have to deal with the guilt of that. A few months after that, my husband, excuse me, my husband had a heart attack, and he survived, and he had some stents put in, and we are lucky to still have him. It was a pretty substantial blockage that causes heart attacks, so it definitely could have turned out worse. And then the final thing was that the salon that I worked for 16 years, as a result of my boss wanting to retire, closed its doors, and I had to find a new job. So all of those things happened. They were big adult life things and kind of devastating things for me, and they all happened to me in a short period of time. And what it caused in me, in my heart and in my head, was to kind of spiral out of control. I took all of my unhealthy coping mechanisms and turned them up to the max, and I was very stressed. I was very sad. I was angry, and I was trying to control everybody and everything in my life. At that point, I was unable to recognize my own emotions. and I was only absorbing other people's emotions and everyone around me, and I felt as if I had to save everyone and everything. You know, it was my responsibility to keep my daughter healthy. It was my responsibility to fix my husband's lifestyle and eating, and I needed to shoulder all the guilt for my dad's addiction and passing, and it made me very depressed and very scared, and I was having complete and total meltdowns over things that were unrelated. I was doing a lot of crying, but then at the same time totally numbing myself with work and with cleaning and walking in circles and making lists of things and not really getting anywhere. So these things that happened to me really, I feel like, were intended to take me out, to destroy me. And I could see that I was on the path to doing that. I was on the path to not taking care of myself. I was starting to waste away and have belly issues and isolate and all of those things. But that landed me in therapy. So I end up, looking for help to try to figure out, how I can deal with these things, how I can deal with my stressors in a healthy way, and take responsibility for the things that were mine. And I think, God uses sometimes these things to develop us. Bad things happen. Unfortunately, we live in a world where bad things happen. People get sick, people pass away, bad things happen to us, and some of it's out of our control. And these things sometimes, they can be used to teach us something. They can be used to develop us in a way so that we're stronger. They always say if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, and it definitely does. So for me, these things got me to look at my relationships with my husband, my relationships with my children, what was really important to me in my life, what was worth continuing to work on, and what I needed to let go, and what was actually my problem to deal with. That I don't need to be responsible for everyone within 20 feet of me, everyone's emotions. That I need to recognize my own emotions and take care of them when they are good, bad, or otherwise. So whatever thing that you're dealing with, whatever thing that is, you're up against, and whatever battle you're fighting that is trying to destroy you, I just encourage you to kind of look forward into what is it teaching me? What lesson am I needing to learn from this? And how can I develop myself to look ahead? To look ahead at, look straight ahead, don't look back at yesterday when, I said this and I did that, and last month, I was feeling like this. Let's look at today, and let's look at tomorrow, and see what we can do to take care of ourselves and take care of our loved ones, and take responsibility for the mistakes that we've made and for what is actually ours. So yeah, I'm growing in this. I'm really liking learning these kinds of things and sharing them. I hope that was helpful for some of you. Yeah, there's my heart for this week. I hope your week is great. It is super humid out. I am really liking the weather. It's really, really good right now. So, and happy 4th of July coming up. I'll see you next time.